What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are test driving a Toyota Camry SE 2023 model, complete with the sport tuned suspension. Oh, and feel the 4-cylinder power. First of all, I want to compliment this engine. I'm normally not a big fan of 4-cylinder Toyotas. I find them to be slightly coarse and unrefined, but this one is smooth. I like the way it sounds. Part of the SE package is they give you dual chrome exhaust tips on one side. I don't know if it's just the tips that are different or if they do anything with the mufflers. They don't claim to do anything with the mufflers, but I like the way this engine sounds. I like the way this engine feels. It's hooked up to an 8-speed automatic transmission, which does its job very well. The SE does include a sport-tuned suspension, and it does feel sporty. The handling on this car is exceeded my expectations, let me put it that way. Traditionally, Toyota Camrys are not known for fantastic handling, and I would not classify this as any kind of a sports car, but I think you could call it a budget sports sedan realistically. The ride has a little bit of starch in it. You can feel what you're doing there. Engine and transmission are responsive, just over 201 horsepower in this model, which is fine for a vehicle of this size. You can certainly mix it up with freeway traffic without any kind of an issue. There's somebody in a Lexus that decided to take a break on the side of the road. But overall, I have to say, I am very, very impressed with the way this car drives. I would say that it's exceeded my expectations for sure. To give you an idea of refinement, that is just a little over 70 miles an hour. A little bit of tire noise, wind noise, not much to speak of. This is a relatively decent freeway. Very nice car to drive. Give me a minute, I'm gonna get it over to a little bit of a twistier road and we'll see how it does. So here we are on a road with some curves and some bumps, and I gotta tell you, if you like to drive, it may very well be worth it to upgrade to the SE with the bigger wheels and the sport suspension, because the handling and the chassis on this car is very, very refined. At least for the class. It's probably not going to be giving a Porsche Panamera any kind of fits, but it's obviously much, much less expensive than one of those. The ride is, it's weird to like feel bumps in a Camry and feel the road. It does give you good road feel. Really, my only criticism as far as the driving experience is the steering feel is very numb, and that's not unique to this car. Almost all modern cars now use some form of electric power steering, and it really does rob the steering feel that you used to get from the old hydraulic systems, but it's more fuel efficient, so it is what it is. That's what we get now. So yeah, that's really my only complaint about the driving experience, is that I wish I had a little bit more feeling in the steering. The steering is direct, it's responsive, it's progressive, it feels, you know, as far as interacting with it, that's all good. It doesn't give you an idea of what the front wheels are doing and of how much grip you have left before it lets go. But other than that, this is a very nice car to drive. The MSRP on this car would have been about $29,000. This is just a regular Camry SE. It's not a nightshade. It's not a hybrid. It doesn't have any kind of optional packages with moon roofs or blind spot monitors or anything like that. I have done a full review of it. There's a link to that video in the description. But driving wise, I'm impressed. This car has exceeded my expectation as far as how well it drives. As far as the features go, it actually was a little bit of a disappointment in that regard. I went over that in my review video. Part of that might just be inflation. This is a 2023 model, and I know that manufacturers have adjusted their pricing, but you know, for about 29 grand, you don't even get push button start, which is a little bit of a disappointment in this day and age, but it's not the end of the world. And I guess it drives better than I thought. So this was the best selling sedan last year. I'm filming this in 2022. So 2021, the Camry was the best selling sedan. And for people who like cars, it's a little bit disheartening that sedans are becoming so uncommon. And we have such a glut of SUVs on the road, and that's where the market is going. That's what a lot of people want to buy. But much like the manual transmission, it's getting harder and harder to find sedans. And so it does make me happy that the best-selling sedan actually drives pretty well, because the whole reason I like a sedan, I prefer the way they look. I'm not a huge fan of the way SUVs look. I prefer the utility of a trunk. I occasionally go target shooting, so I like to be able to lock my firearms in a trunk when I do that activity, and I feel like they're not as safe in an SUV with a tonneau cover. Maybe that's stupid of me, but that's just how I feel. And lower center of gravity, which gives you better handling. And as time has gone on with modern chassis designs and suspension designs and unibody construction and everything else, SUVs do handle a lot better than they used to, and they're more fuel efficient than they used to be. But when we apply those exact same advancements to the sedans, then you get an even better handling vehicle and a more fuel efficient vehicle. So strictly based on physics and aerodynamics, SUVs will never be able to match sedans if you equalize everything else out as far as fuel efficiency or handling, just because they're too tall, too high of a center of gravity, and too high of a coefficient of drag. Road construction ahead, expect delays. Well, then we'll turn around, because I don't want to deal with any delays. I got to get home and edit a bunch of YouTube videos. So we're going to use this weird little triangle spot to turn around. Should be noted that the Camry SE does have a slightly wider turning circle than a standard Camry due to its sport suspension, but it's only by like 0.6 of a foot, so not a big enough difference probably to notice. Yeah, this thing does, you can hustle it, and it's nice and stable, not a lot of body roll. This is crazy. This is a nice car to drive, it genuinely is. Be hilarious if I got a speeding ticket in a Camry. I've driven down this road in like Mustang GTs, a Mercedes with a V12. What'd you get a ticket in? Oh, Camry SE. Oh, not the AMG Mercedes, no. No, I was in a white Camry. Oh, the last speeding ticket I ever got in my life was about 5 years ago. And I had just got a Subaru WRX STI, And I'd had the car for like a month, and I was driving it up to Tahoe to go visit my dad, and I got nailed on Highway 395 coming into Bishop. And then I bought a radar detector, and I haven't had a speeding ticket since then. But I don't even use the radar detector that much anymore. I've just been, knock on wood, I've just been lucky. But you could get a speeding ticket in this car. It is certainly more than possible. And I don't really know that I have a whole lot else to say about this beauty. The Camry SE. Very nice car to drive if you're looking for a sedan, and I hope you are. And you want something that's nice to drive. I can't believe I'm saying this, but you got to check the Camry out. You know, normally I'd say no. Go look at an Accord, maybe a Subaru Legacy. No, the Camry SE, man. This thing drives nice. It's funny. Well, good for Toyota. Maybe that's one reason why it's the best-selling sedan, you know, because the Camry's always been a pretty good value as far as reliability, resale value. You know, it's a logical car to buy from that perspective, but it's never, ever been an exciting car. I do think that the newer versions of it are certainly a lot better looking than they used to be. It's kind of shed that appliance on wheels look that it had for the first couple of decades of its life, but it's genuinely kind of a fun car to drive, so that can't hurt it, you know. And they make so many different versions of it that if you want something that rides a little smoother and you don't really care about the handling, then you can just get a base model and it'll ride a little smoother and it won't handle quite as well. Oh, here's a guy in a autumn green Subaru Outback Wilderness, and it's dirty. So anyway, that's about all I have to say about the Camry SE. Thank you very much for watching my test drive video. I appreciate it. Please like the video, subscribe to my channel, all that good stuff, and have a fantastic day. Bye-bye. I'm gonna smoke this guy in an Infiniti in my Camry SE.